Yes, good evening all. Thank you for having me. I kind of invited myself, but still thanks for having me. Yes, so braking for 100 meters going into turn 1 looks to be a pretty nice line. Going through turn 2, want to keep it as tight as possible and go on the throttle as early as possible. Turn 3 seems to hook it up nicely, maybe a little bit late on the throttle. Turn 4 maybe goes a little bit wide. I think that's... no, it's still valid actually. Going into turn 5, I really want to keep it tight. Going into turn 6 again, trail braking throughout. Nice and early on the throttle towards the exit. It seems like a tidy lap for sure. Going into the hairpin, actually one of the hardest corners on the track, kind of a double apex. But takes it very nicely. Really, I would say textbook. For sure, yeah, going into turn 10, kind of the hardest sequence on track I feel, because it's really hard to get a good exit out of turn 11, but again, very tidy. Now coming up to the final chicane, actually the corners that kind of make or break your lap, it's pretty hard in the Ferrari. Let's see how it takes it. Very nicely indeed, and now coming up to the final corner. Want to keep it as tight as possible and early on the throttle as possible. Also very nice. Yeah, it looked like a very tidy lap actually. And so apparently Timo's microphone is broken or something. At least no, it's not. OBS is not having a very good time today.
There we go. Computer. Hello. Okay. Amazing. So that must have sounded amazing with you talking to yourself a little bit there, but it's fine. Yeah. OBS. Well, ran an update, and I assume it just reset the audio devices, and I didn't notice. Thank you, Sanix, for telling me in a very non-insulting way in the DMs. Thank you. So yeah, that was the lap we had at Nurburgring. You know the drill. And that was a lap from Felix. So let's quickly look at the timings and see how it all looks after the first run. So right now George is on top, actually, just about ahead of Felix. I believe 53.5 is, it's not an incredible lap, but I think it's pretty solid considering he's only got like one run in. Felix is a bit more than a tenth down. Sam P3 and George Roshu also in a really solid position, P4. Had his really good finish of P5 last week in Alton Park, and looks like he's carried some space over. And it's Ruben P5, Illigna P6, Veldman 7, Olive 8, and then we've got Chavinsky, and as a surprise, well, for now, I am a little bit ear-rapey. That's amazing. Huh. Maybe I need to turn myself down a little. Man, it's not an ACC broadcast by me if nothing goes wrong. Maybe I should change that. Yeah, let me know if it's fine now, please, Sanix. He keeps Steam DMing me. So yeah, it's been... Well, Chris has been promoted to Pro Class because of his 2 wins in Alton Park and Zolder. And now he finds himself in P7 as improvements coming in from Olive and Chavinsky. Chavinsky jumping to P6. Do we have the next Polish driver from Silver Class just really performing out of his class? I don't know. It's P6 for now.
Yeah, what I actually wanted to add before when naming the timings, 53.5 I think was pole last season. So considering this was only the first flying lap, this should maybe we can see a massive improvement from last season actually.
Yeah, in my mind it was reasonably fast. What are the aliens doing? Like mid to low 52, or what are they doing? I don't know.
Well, of course, the track state is going to determine a lot, but I think a 52.6 is very fast, but not uncommon under the aliens.
Well, we'll see if anyone is going to be able to get into the 52s. It'd be maybe a little bit of a surprise, but you never know. The field is pretty strong, and especially out of Felix, we've seen some absolutely great performances. I hope Olivier's not getting blocked on his lap here by Czerwinski, who's in the red Porsche and gets out of the way nicely. Well, nice enough, I guess. Antoine is up on his time by 3/10. He could actually challenge for the front row, and so could Sam. They are both up 3/10, I believe. Now through the chicane for the Lamborghini of Antoine, 1 corner to go. And if he hooks it up nicely, that could be a solid improvement. It's P5 for now. He's been jumped by Veld in the meantime. But maybe he's gonna be a little bit of a surprise. Jumps up to P3. Good lap. Not enough for the front row, and there comes Sam, and he is able to actually put it on the front spot as he parks on the start-finish straight in his best Turkey impression.
Kind of surprising, actually. I personally would say that the McLaren is actually one of the lesser cars for the Nurburgring. It's just the way that the track is.
Really?
Yes, at least I would say it.
I guess it was just me being bad back then.
I would expect the Lamborghinis should be very strong, and they are 3 in the top 6. Talking at this point. Also, the Audis should be pretty fast.
We don't have Audis.
There are?
Yeah, wait. Oh, we do. Ramza and Alex, right? Yeah, I forgot about them. Wait.
Better.
Yes, Alex Burbo already... Does he already have a full-time seat again? I knew he was gone for like a season because he was driving on a steel chair and it hurt his back, but he's got a solid setup now, so he's back, and apparently he's already back in pro class because his color code for the name isn't red, so I assume he's not a reserve, which is very nice to see. He had some good performances. Crashed in Kyalami when he could have won, and we'll see how it goes for him, Audi, at the Nürburgring. They should go well together, as from a nationality standpoint. Let's see. So is anyone up on their laps? We've got some folks far down the order who haven't set laps in that are in for massive improvements on invalid laps, like Jasper Smelt. I wonder where he's gonna come out. He's also been promoted to Pro Class before Alton Park, and has, I think, claimed it. He running like P4 or something in Alton Park? I'm pretty sure he was. So 1 corner to go for him. He's gonna put himself on the board right now. He's P22. I'm sure he can do much better than that. Comes across the line, and it is gonna be a 154.9, which he's probably not gonna be too pleased with, but maybe he's got some time in that. How's a Lexus here, actually? I can't judge that guy. I don't know how it drives.
Well, I mean, the Lexus is an average car, I would say, but I do think that the Lexus is a car that doesn't really have a track where it completely shines. It's just average. It's not bad at any tracks, I would say.
So it's just,
a good choice all around.
So you can never really blame the car because the car is terrible at a track, but at least, but you're also not gonna win just because of your car, I guess.
Of course, yes.
So, and up front, George has now started another lap. He's got like, I think 2 runs in him, timing-wise. Maybe 3. It should be close though. And he is really close to an improvement after the first After the first few corners, I can see that in the broadcasting client. It's a little unreliable sometimes, but most times it gives you a rough idea of what's going on. And he would need that 10th, because right now Sam has got the upper hand. I assume the likes of Felix would still have some 10ths in this, so it would be vital for George to improve on his lap time from here if he wants to be on the front row, or yeah, at the very front of the grid. Heading into turn 1. Where's the... You actually know where P1 starts. Do you get the inside or the outside?
I'm pretty sure it's the inside.
Okay, well that's good, because Nurburgring is one of those where there are always some massive dive bombs in the back, and if you're P1 and you have to defend from the outside, there's quite a chance you're going to get spun. I believe that actually happened in the real life race there last season, that the leader just got spun around right away, and we don't want to see that. And it's going to be comforting for Sam if he gets pole and knows he can start from the inside.
Yeah, and Sam actually invalidated his lap.
Where did that happen? Was it the second S, I guess, after Schumacher's?
Yes.
Easy to do.
George actually goes into the pits.
That's weird. Why is he doing that? I mean, he's got no, he doesn't have time for one more unless he's really fast about it, because, well, you know, let's say 155 for the athlete. Okay, he's not doing it.
No, he's not gonna make that.
That is weird. I don't know how that happens, but now P2 is the best case scenario for him. He needs to hope that he doesn't lose more positions, and I believe Felix is probably gonna knock him down at least one position. He is currently coming up towards the hairpin at the middle of the lap, roughly. And he is up 2 tenths, which would be exactly what he needs to bridge the gap to Sam. But of course he doesn't want to bridge the gap. He wants to pass him and extend the gap a little bit. Now 3 tenths, so that would be exactly what he needs. Let's see if he shows more aggression on this lap. We've watched him on his first run on his banker time, but I'm sure he's got some time up his sleeve. Yeah, it looks like he's just throwing the car in a little bit more than on the first run, where can he get the throttle down? Catches no gravel on the outside, which is good. That's what always happens to me here. A little bit over ego on throttle. It's easy to do. And now just the chicane, it can make or break a lap. If he doesn't make a mistake here, he should be able to gun for the top. I think he missed the entry apex a little bit.
It wasn't ideal, yeah.
Yeah, still just about even with his improvement. He's gonna come across the line. Time right now is a point. Well, this is a 0.4. I think he did an invalid 0.2 before that. Yeah, it is pole, but I think he can do more actually, because the broadcasting client told me his last lap was a 0.2. I assume it was invalid. So enough for Sam now.
We're gonna. I think Sam should be able to do another lap. It's gonna be close, but he should be able to. Yeah, he's gonna have another one.
Yep. Comes across no improvement on this 153.7. Not an improvement, as you say. And also, as you say, one more lap. Track temperature is 24 degrees. That's not as incredibly cold as much of the past races have been, but it's also, I think, a little below average. Most races run 30 degrees, right?
Yeah, I think so. It's 24 degrees. Track temp, at least, is one of the better track conditions. Well, Kolinov comes across the line for P17, actually.
Yeah. I think we're getting an improvement from Veldman by the looks of things. He's he's coming up to the kink as he catches a little bit of gravel. That's exactly what I meant. It's what I always do. You always think you can accelerate really early, and then you understeer a little bit off into the gravel. Now just needs to be clean through there. That looked relatively tidy, so maybe some good improvement coming from him. He must have messed up his hairpin on the other run. What was that? There was a parked car on the inside.
Unloading.
Yeah, it was an XL Racing car, and not the greatest run out of the final corner. Improves, but doesn't gain a position. P5 for Veldman. Sam, well, it's probably gonna be between Sam and Rupert. I don't see anyone else randomly jumping in.
Felix Rupert didn't improve, so it's all up to Sam now.
Yeah, and I don't see an improvement on his delta either, but I also don't see him being down, so maybe with a good hairpin, a good chicane, and a good last corner, he could still do this. Maximum commitment, can this be a pole for Samuel Chumley in the McLaren on the Nurburgring? Accelerates out of the last corner relatively decently, gonna come across the line, and it is not an improvement, so it is pole position for Felix Rupert ahead of Samuel Chumley then. And then it's the 2 Lamborghinis in 3 and 4, so really good from them. Maybe also down to the car, as you say. Car likes the track, but certainly well done.
That must have been very close for Sam, because on the onboard timing in his car, it actually said it was a 0.4.
Oh.
So it must have been very close.
Yeah, as we go for our grid walk, as usual. So as I said, it's Felix Rupert on pole position once again. I believe, didn't he disconnect and lose a win here last season because of his internet, maybe? I believe that's what happened.
Yes.
And who won the race then? Anyways. So alongside him is Sam. I think he was really good in that race as well, wasn't he? Didn't he lead for a little bit? And last...
I'm pretty sure Sam, well, he was in the lead for sure, and I think he finished in P2 at the end.
Yeah, I mean, last season Nurburgring was quite wild. Anyways, we have got the 2 Lamborghinis in P3 and 4. Then it's Nico Veldman lining up in 5th ahead of Light Cruiser in P6. Then it's Dominic Illigner on home soil alongside his former teammate, Alex Burbo. Christian Stricker is in P9 ahead of the winner of the last 2 races, Formula Chris. Then George Roshu in... Wait, is that... And these guys can't ever settle on a livery, can they? Little bit of a midlife crisis there. P12, Romsey Jensen, then it's Jurien Visser, who... Well, Romsey and Jurien are actually P1 and 2 in silver class. Then it's Jasper Smell, P14, Viktor Czerwinski, P15, Kennedy Chikeka, then Nick Kononov, Turkey in P18 in a Lamborghini, then Ryan Knopp in P19, Bas Kessel, P20, Joel Möllers, P21, and what's the first name here? Sonzi Max spins a lot. I'm like at least 10% sure that's not a real name. Guilherme Santos P23, Owen Turner 24, and then Nico Sarkis rounds out the grid, and that's our starting grid for the Nürburgring. I'm gonna quickly set up the replay timer so we don't get trapped in replay for eternities. And we should be good to go.
Predictions, Timo?
Oh, are they... You really want me to commentator's curse before the race has even started? Well, I think I'm just gonna be a boring person and say that I believe that Rupert can avenge himself for last season. I mean, he's shown some pretty solid improvement just in general over the last 2 seasons and is at a really good level now, and just if he keeps the lead over lap 1, I think he's in a very good position. Just needs to make sure he doesn't make the mistakes he made in Zolder and Alton Park. They should be set. I think my bet would be in it. What are you saying?
I think I'm gonna have to agree. What? So can't talk anymore. The run to turn 1 isn't that long. So if he just stays on the inside, well, he's gonna stay on the inside, obviously. But not outbrake himself, which is also actually a pretty common thing to do. I can back up this statement. He should be able. I think he should be able to keep the lead and slowly drive away. But what I do want to say is that the Ferrari, I personally think, and that is my experience with Ferrari, is a very unforgiving car on this track. More or less because it doesn't handle the curbs as well. And having the final chicane, for one, being very notorious for spinning cars out. And also the Schumacher S actually, which may sound weird, but taking a little bit too much of the inside curb can unsettle a car massively.
George? What are you doing? Okay, well, it's not the first time we've seen a Lamborghini Dell'Amore Scuderia going off on the formation lap. I hope he didn't break anything like Antoine did at Barcelona. Interesting.
That would be a shame.
Yeah, certainly we'll see how Rupert deals with the Ferrari. And one thing, I mean, I wonder what George is gonna do, because maybe, well, he kinda needs to do something if he wants to keep this championship hope alive, like a little bit. Then he needs to do something. Felix has just been running away with things a little bit. He hasn't really been in form himself, George, and I wonder how aggressive he's gonna be here at the start. Maybe he can pick off Sam, maybe he can even attack Felix, but that remains to be seen, and I'm certainly excited for it. Let's see how it goes, and I really hope for everyone at the back that it goes through safely, because it is a very wide corner, but it's still, I don't know, in the end drivers always somehow manage to run into each other, and I don't want anyone spun around here.
Yeah, it's in the end it's very easy to misjudge the braking for turn 1 at the start. You're gonna have cold brakes, but also you might be surprised, or you might get surprised by the braking of the car in front of you. But let's hope that everyone will survive, and let's hope we can get a good race here.
Yes, certainly do, and now we're gonna see how all of this shapes up coming into turn 1. We've got Samuel Chomley, our Season 2 champion, on the outside in the blue and black McLaren. Felix Rupert, our championship leader, in the white Ferrari on the inside line. It looks like Sam is just level, and we go green at the Nurburgring, and it looks like not the best start from Felix, as he's already going to be attacked by George, I believe, who wants to stick his nose in. I think he had the best start out of the top 3, and he's going to make it 3 wide into turn 1. I believe it's George in the Lamborghini, at least alongside Sam. Really late braking by Felix, and I think, yeah, George squeezes through, so it's P2 for him. Very nice start. Sam a little bit down the order. Antoine lost the position to Veld, but they're gonna run side by side here. Antoine keeps it for now. Ruben waiting behind. I don't think we have a pile-up yet. Massive send from Alex Berber and Dominic Illigner there.
Roshu is around.
Oh no!
Oh,
pile-up! Massive pile-up, and I've absolutely jinxed that one. I think we go into the replay right away to see what happens there. Maybe keep an eye on the leaders to make sure we don't miss anything while I'm in the replay. And so what's gonna happen? It was just him and Romza, I think. Yeah, I mean, two that both thought the apex was theirs, and it all unfolded from there. So, man, that's really sad to see. But back to the live feed. What are we seeing? It's my timing's out a little bit all over the place. It's tough to see who's leading. It's still Felix. Someone's going off in the Bentley. No, is that even a Bentley? No, it's a Lexus. God damn it. The timings. Okay, they are back. We are here at the front. It's Felix still leading from George. Then we've got Sam. Antoine has managed to fend off Nico. Antoine is really good at this track as well, so I'm not surprised that he's managed row number 2. And that's a bad run from Ruben, if I've ever seen one. That was half on the gravel there, and that opens the chance for Dominic Illigner to maybe strike. He almost puts his car fully onto the AstroTurf on the outside. Can he break it into the chicane? They make contact, but they actually both keep it on the road. There comes Alex Berber. He's going to put himself alongside, so it's 2 positions lost right away from Ruben as he gets squeezed wide. Chris squeezes into the inside as well. He's going to gain some positions. What's going on here, man? We've got Dragon also involved in that, and that's going to be a 4 wide moment into turn 1, I feel it. Oh no. Oh no, so massive losses for Ruben. Chris gains loads of positions, and he's gonna hope no one rear ends him here. Driver's relatively disciplined, a little bit of a tap between Rams and Jurgen. And the 2 Polish drivers, Czerwinski and Witkowski, running alongside. They tap each other, and this is also for the lead in silver class between the red Porsche. Oh my god, the red Porsche and the army green Aston Martin are fighting for a silver class lead. So this is multiple races intertwined, interacting with each other, and we haven't seen any deaths. There was some bumping, but it was was clean enough, as clean as GT3 racing needs to be.
Exactly. It's not. These are not F1 cars. A little bit of door banging. There's no shame in that.
Yeah, certainly.
Actually, at the end of or at the start of lap 2, George actually was under quite a lot of pressure of Sam. Felix seems to be creating a little bit of a gap. I wonder how George is gonna hold up against Sam now.
Yeah, I mean, this must be a little bit disheartening for George, because he's had a really good start, but it seems like Rupert has already got the pace on him. This is the Valtteri Bottas experience for him. You can just see that he's just a little bit too slow here. But, I mean, it's only two laps in, maybe. Maybe we'll see the tables turn, but for now he probably needs to go a little bit faster if he wants to keep his hopes in this race alive. And if he doesn't want to be attacked by Sam, then return.
It's indeed coming. I wonder if George is. I actually wonder. Not George, excuse me, Sam, because of course Sam likes to do an undercut, and well, Rosu is actually getting out of the pits here. I hope he doesn't get in the way. Oh
yeah, this is a spooky pit, and oh god. It's yeah, it's right with the leaders, man. Get out of the way. Oh, he's on the apex. That's suboptimal. That is a Suzuka cosplay for him. He's done this before, but oh no, he's gonna get into the way of Sam. I can already I can hear the frustrated shouts in that VC in my inner ear. Honestly, now he has to go off track, and he's gonna lose so much time as everyone's gonna drive past him. But please move over. Yeah, now he does. There goes. Well, there goes Antoine, there goes Veld, and he takes the apex off of Veld. This is a really awkward position to be in. Certainly no fun for him. Let's just hope it doesn't end in a collision. Looks like it doesn't. Good.
Yeah, no, for sure. He has been very unfortunate with the start being spun out, but now this is also going to compromise his race even more, being stuck in the middle of the field. I'm gonna have to let the top pack go. I wonder, because he's gonna be, well, the difference on tires isn't gonna be big, gonna be basically
nothing.
Minimal. But I do wonder that maybe Roshu's gonna have some very good pace now, and maybe at some point might unlap himself, which could also be very interesting for the fight at the front.
Yeah, I mean, at the latest, as soon as everyone's gonna drive into the pit lane, he's gonna unlap himself. I believe his plan for the race is just to hope that he has enough pace to stay in this gap between.
Oh, Sam went off some.
Oh, what's he done? Okay, so that's a little bit of time loss, not too much. No, actually, he's lost.
One got past.
Oh, it's the wrong Lamborghini I was looking at. So it's now 2-3 for the Lamborghini squad. So I'm gonna check the replay there actually to see what he's done. Oh, it was just the chicane. He's just made a mistake. He's just overshot it. Oh man, that's sad to see.
Yeah, and just like I was saying before the race, more or less aimed towards the Ferrari of Felix, but also now Sam proving that the chicane can be deadly, and a very small mistake, and well, it ends up costing a position and could very easily end up costing more.
Yeah, this is very comfortable now for George, as well, Babner, by the way, not Roshu, who goes off in the background there. It's comfortable for George now. He's got his teammate behind him as a little bit of a buffer before the raging McLaren and Mercedes of Sam and Nico. And also, wow, he's holding his own well in P6.
Actually, interesting, a little bit of battling going on here for P17 between Turner and Chikeka.
Yeah, Turner has returned after loads of time. He's quit ACC early on, I think because of his school commitments and F1 game. I'm sure you have opinions on that, but now he's back. He's seen the light apparently, and fighting with Kennedy Chikeka over P17. How did
you can just see. Yeah, sorry. You can just see. The advantage that the Aston has going through the Schumacher S. The Aston, being a front-engine car, has a very easy time going over the curbs, which basically allows him to carry more speed. To through the Schumacher S. I wonder what it's gonna be like through the chicane here.
Yeah, it's certainly my experience with the Aston Martin that you really need to try if you want to unsettle this car. Meanwhile, Kennedy certainly didn't try, but it still happened. But that was probably just down to him braking a little late into the corner. Didn't get his car spun, which is good, but it was a scary moment over the curb there. I actually wonder if Owen is going to be able to attack Ryan Noppen instead of getting attacked. But yeah, I mean, he's too far back for now.
Yeah, what's pretty interesting is that Antoine is... either George made a mistake which cost him time, but Antoine is catching up slowly but surely, and P2 to P6 is actually pretty close. Also Alex Burbo and Ruben starting to catch up slowly, so it might actually be a 6-car train at some point.
Yeah, and that's I mean, that's been the fun part about this grid and this season mainly. It's usually a really good scrap for the front of the midfield. Car number 26 is off, and that is George Rocher again,
yes.
Trying to find it, but yeah, he's already disconnected from the server, so I can't jump to him again, which means that we're not gonna find out what happens as soon as everyone else pits. He could have still taken some points. I mean, top 20 get points. He needed to stick it out, hope for some mistakes, maybe just drive faster than the back of the grid, and you would have been there, but makes another mistake, retires instead. Can't blame him.
And looking at it now, I actually do think George maybe made a little bit of a mistake, because free air, he seems to be driving away from Antoine again.
Yeah, I'm gonna compare lap times. 54.9 from George, 55.4 from Antoine. So half a second deficit there for the Frenchman.
Ooh,
yeah. Wow, he broke really late. That might open the door. Okay, it doesn't open the door for Wow. And the 717 is off. Who's that? That's Guilherme Santos. And it's the next victim of the chicane. It's not in a car you prophesized, but it is just really tough corner, man. So it can happen to anyone, really.
Yeah, for sure. And actually, Antoine under a lot of pressure from Sam here.
He looks frustrated with his race. If I'm honest, I mean, he started P2, now he's P4. He's lost the position to a poor start. He's lost the position to a mistake, and then he's lost loads of time to George Roche, who maybe is being fueled by a little bit of frustration there.
And Smell being tapped in the rear. I don't really know what's happening there, but it's really close.
Visser, and that's the inside line for who's that? Chikeka. So well, that's actually Visser and Chikeka running side by side. Here a little bit down the order. Can Chikeka stick it down the inside? I think he can, and that's an overtake done into Dunlop. So I really wonder what happened to... Wait, that's actually not... Oh, it's not Visser, it's Möllers. Möllers is running Visser's livery, so I didn't realize, but yeah, position for Chikeka, position lost for Möllers. Back front, as we were saying, Sam probably a little frustrated and probably also a little faster than Antoine, just waiting for his moment.
I'm actually not sure how the McLaren stop speed compares to the Lamborghini here. The Lamborghini known to be, well, a rocket on the straight basically. Well, Sam goes actually a little bit deep, and Veld and Illigner are really starting to join this fight, and Alex Burbo also slowly catching up. He's gonna... I reckon if some battling is gonna commence, that Alex Burbo and Van Harding are gonna be at the back of this group very fast. Yeah, certainly. Also Chris Witkowski not out of the potential fight either. A big little mistake. Yeah, that makes sense. By Alex Burbo. Car got a little sideways. Audi, not the most stable car on track, but he managed to catch it, so it's fine. But yeah, but I
I mean, I believe it's gonna there's gonna be a little bit of dancing around between the drivers, but no real attacks for now. It's 47 minutes to go. You don't want to throw yourself off the road and take someone else with you. I don't think the desperation is high enough for us to see some major scraps, but as we commence further into the race, I'm sure people will get more desperate, will drive a little bit more aggressive on the limit, push each other, and that's exactly when we're gonna see the spicy GT3 racing that we're here for.
Yeah, and I'm actually thinking, or more or less gonna predict here that Sam is gonna go for quite a bit undercut this race.
Mistake by Veld, and that puts Dominic alongside. They're gonna run side by side through the final corner, but I believe the run by Veld was better, so he manages to get away with that mistake. Unless the Lambo takes him down the straight. As you say, it is a rocket. They're gonna be alongside each other in the braking zone. Dominic on the inside. Can he do it on the brakes? It looks like Veld has just been a little bit later, closes the door, and Wow doesn't get the position.
Actually, very nice defensive driving from Nico, actually going onto the brakes fairly late and braking more for the corner than you actually should do, I think. But yeah, then closing the door so that Eligner couldn't really carry too much speed through the corner, and that way he's going to keep the position. Very nice job.
Yeah, it's must be frustrating for WoW, of course, because you can see the guy ahead making a mistake, and that's exactly the opportunity you need to use. You're not given those sort of chances for free in a race, and if you get it and you don't get the position, that can well, I know for my part that it makes me angry. I don't know how he handles it, and maybe we'll see some more aggression out of him from here on out. Certainly allowed.
You should look at the positives though. Veld made a mistake. The gap is the gap is very close. As we saw already, it's very easy to make a mistake through the chicane. So if Eligner can really pile up the pressure onto Veld here, another mistake might be happening.
Yeah, that's true. It's of course it's a difference between glass half full and glass half empty. You can also look at it that way. If he makes one mistake, he might make another one, and then you are prepared for it. So, well, it should be his mindset. Would be the more positive mindset than mine for sure. And wait, what's happened at the front? Has Felix made a mistake? Because the gap is only 2 seconds. I swear it was like 4 seconds a bit ago.
That is correct. Yeah, it seems to be. I think Felix was 4.5, 5 seconds gone actually. So it might have been a chicane.
Oh man, I mean, yeah, as we keep saying, it's easy to do so. Statistically speaking, if I had to put my money on anything, then it would probably be a mistake in the chicane. And George is pushing really hard. You can see his rear kicks out a little bit, coming out of the arena section. So let's see, are there any fights raging right now? It's less raging, it's more drivers well, following each other in close vicinity and waiting for the mistakes, waiting for the pit stops. Antoine has well, tried to explain to me how pit stops work recently, and the way I understand it now, you don't really want to undercut by 1 lap because your tires don't heat up enough, and so that can be a disadvantage. But if you wait too long, there's a big mistake by Dominic here. So instead of Veld making the mistake, he does, and is that actually the opportunity for Berber to get past? Maybe they're going to run side by side. But yeah, and it looks like Alex gets the position. Dominic's still on the inside line. He's not fine with this. Veld managed to hold on to his position after a mistake. Can he too? No, doesn't look like he can. Now he needs to be careful that Ruben doesn't just take the opportunity and goes for it himself. Nicely done by Alex though, waited and got P6 out of it.
A very nice move by Alex Burbo. He went onto the brakes very late. They nearly collided, went side by side, and then got a very nice run on the outside of turn 11, which, yeah, he just got a very nice run onto the back straight.
And Ruben not close enough to do anything, but I would expect just from the qualifying positions and the stint pace, well, and the pace in the first stint, that Dominic should be able to put some pressure on Alex Burbo, and that could make for an interesting dynamic here, as it's a tough track to overtake, but it's not impossible. It's not Alton Park, it's not Zolder. It's doable if you have the pace advantage, and he just needs to make it happen.
And meanwhile, Antoine's still under a lot of pressure from Sam. I wonder if Sam is just waiting for Antoine to make a mistake, or I honestly, personally, I would probably go for an undercut at this point. Well, there's 40 minutes to go. It's not that big of an undercut, I would say, because I remember Sam like sometimes pitting with 45, 47 minutes to go, which is very early. But I do think the McLaren is a pretty nice car on the tires. So I actually don't see a reason to not go for an early pit.
Yeah, what's your opinion on Antoine's comments from like 2 weeks ago that you don't want to undercut by 1 lap because of the cold tires? You don't have pace right at the gates, but if you undercut by like 2 laps, then your tire should be there, and then you get the position. Like, is that true, or is it just Antoine's perception of things? What's your opinion on it?
Personally, I don't think. I mean, it's since the new tires, the new tire model for the 2020 season. The tires do need 2 good laps to properly get up to speed. But saying that, I do think that even though you're on colder tires, they are new, and they naturally just have more grip than the tires you had before. So it's more or less down to being how comfortable are you with the car, how familiar are you with the actual limits of the car. If you know that and are, well, just
fast enough,
or
confident enough to push the car.
If you're confident enough to push the car, exactly, then an undercut should definitely still work.
Yeah, it sounds as if the cold tires are mitigated, and then if you are the faster driver, then you should be able to make the difference. And Sam has looked pretty fast through this. By the way, Felix is dropping more pace to George, and Dominic is all over the back of Alex Burbo here, but not in a place where you can usually get past. And I'm not sure what's going on with my microphone, because the last message from chat, it's been some time since I was written, but it says the mic is super crackling. I don't know how to fix that, if there's anything I can do. Is it fine to you, or is it just stream?
It's to me it's fine, but if I would suggest a fix, it's to buy a new one.
Yeah, maybe I should.
Sam went into the pits.
Oh wow!
Go for it.
Yeah, it was exactly what you suggested, and it seems like he is taking the advice, even though I didn't hear it. And we'll see how it all shapes up for him. He needs to be precise on the pit entry and make sure to not get picked up, dropped, and then picked up again. And it looks like he's done that well. That puts a little bit of pressure onto Antoine and maybe even George, even though the gap there was big enough that I don't think George is under direct threat. And I mean, Antoine basically has to pit next lap, really. If he waits any longer, then it's warm tires on Sam's car, and then he's completely left without a chance, because Sam was absolutely glued to his back. And now with clear air, well, if I was Oliver, I'd be scared of what Sam's gonna be able to do with that car.
Yeah, agreed. And maybe Illigner is also interested in an undercut, because I feel like he's being held up by Alex Burbo at this point. He is at certain points parts of the track he's absolutely glued to the car, but not able to actually make an overtake.
Yeah, well, it just shows how costly that mistake was that he made. I mean, the mistake in isolation probably lost him like 2 seconds, but the fact that he wasn't able to come out on top in the fight that his mistake started means that he's probably lost like 4 or 5 seconds by now to the train he was running close to. Actually, okay, more like 3 seconds, but still. It was costly, and you can't afford to make those, and he dives into the pit lane pretty late. But he does, and so does George. Oliver actually doesn't react right away, and now we need to hope that everyone gets ready for the speed limit.
Oliver did go into the pits.
Oh, he did! Right, okay, never mind then. So both Lamborghinis in reacting to Sam being the first one, and let's watch Sam a little bit. How does he deal with the cold tires? How much is he pushing that car? I guess it's just easy to be scared when you see your tires are like, well, not lime green, but like turquoise or something. When your tires are cold, and it's easy to take a little bit off the gas because you're scared that your car's gonna snap on you. But with enough confidence, maybe you can do something on the cold tires. Sam goes a little bit deep in the chicane, but that should and have cost him too much time. Comes around the final corner, and where are the Lamborghinis? Can he take one? Can he maybe even take two? I doubt it, but well, we've seen some really good performances by him in the past. Stop go 30 for Antoine. That's an absolute disaster. So now it doesn't matter anymore it doesn't matter anymore that Antoine's come out well ahead of Sam, because he is, well, basically been taken out of contention for any place in the top 10 with that. That's such a costly mistake. You really can't afford to risk that, and man, that's tragic, absolutely tragic. That's such a good race.
Yeah, I mean, it's again such an easy mistake to make. It's gonna be speeding in the pit lane, I think.
Yeah, it is.
Should be. And I'm pretty sure it would have gotten that on the entry.
Def, who's that? That's a 60, what, 66?
Sakos.
Nikos Sakos in the Lexus. Okay, I didn't see what happened, but let's hope he didn't collide with another driver.
No, it appeared he was carrying a little bit too much pace going through the Schumacher S, and he's really struggling at this point.
Yeah, maybe it's time for a tire swap. I don't know. Would be my humble suggestion. And now most drivers come into the pit lane. That promotes Ramse Jensen to P1. Obviously very representative. Joel Muller's also still out on... No, actually, Joel dives into the pit lane. Who's that Mercedes who's stayed out? It's... Who? Oh, it's Guilherme Santos, and he's a lap down, so he's not stayed out. So Ramse is the only one... Ramse and Owen are the only ones who haven't gone for a pit stop yet.
Yeah, and it might be pretty interesting to watch Eligner here, because he went into the pits a little bit earlier, and as I said, he was glued to the back of Alex Burbo, and gonna be interesting to see if he's gonna come out in front.
Yeah, I mean, he should, in theory. He's still ahead of Ruben, who pit with him, I believe, and let's scan for the blue Audi. Where's the blue Audi? I can't see the blue Audi. Where's Alex Burbo? Oh, there he is. He's come out in the pit lane. Come out of the pit lane way behind, together with Viktor Czerwinski, and a good bit behind Ruben van den Edding. So Eligner didn't even need the undercut. There must have been some massive mistake in that pit stop. Probably didn't park correctly. And Viktor Czerwinski has done the same thing. He's also gonna stop go 30. Ah man, why? And that's actually silver class lead that's gone with that. That's tragic, man. Why are people doing this? This is sad. I mean, because it gains you like it's such an unproportional punishment. You gain like half a second, you lose about a minute of race time. But then again, if you're over careful into the pits every single race, then it's gonna cost you positions as well. So you just need to be precise, and those two have not managed to do that, and they're gonna pay the price.
Yeah, but I can't actually see it. But maybe, just maybe, the pit stop sign, the pit limit sign, has been taken out. Could be.
Oh no.
a possibility. Otherwise, I don't really know why 2 people would get it. It's such an uncommon thing.
Yeah.
But I am unable to see if the board is actually gone.
Yeah, I don't actually know if spectators get it updated. I know it doesn't update in replay, so I don't know. But I think I've seen the pit board earlier in the race, and George is absolutely flying. Actually, he's within half a second of Felix Rupert. He's gotten the undercut by I think a lap, and now he's right on the back. So I was absolutely dead wrong when I said that. And that George will have to watch Felix drive into the distance. He's taken matters into his own hands, and now he's right on the back of the Ferrari, just waiting for the mistake that you've been foreshadowing for the entire formation lap, basically, because the Ferrari is very punishing, and the Lamborghini seems to be flying on this track.
And meanwhile, Illigner actually very close to Veld as well. He was weaving a little bit on the straight. Illigner just really showing himself in the mirrors of Veld, trying to be a little bit intimidating. Who knows, maybe it'll catch Veld off guard.
Yeah, they are both massive amounts of time off of the back of Sam, which leads me to think Veld probably just made a mistake. It was it's a 6-second gap now. I believe it was way closer before the pit stops. Something probably went wrong for Veld.
Ooh, and Veld actually went a little bit deep going into the hairpin. It was very close with Illigner. But Dominic really on the back, glued to the back now. What you were saying about the gap, I actually think that this kind of proves that Antoine was really holding up Sam. Sam got some free air now, has been able to drive his own pace, and as we see that Veld is also battling with Illigner, which is also going to cost him quite a bit of time.
Man, Felix is so on the edge here. He's just come out of the last chicane, mounted the entry curb a little bit, or the first curb on the inside, and that didn't look too comfortable. That car, well, it looked like it wanted to throw him out of the corner. He held onto it, but just one misstep, and then George is gonna be right there, and it looks like those are gonna be our 2 protagonists for the win of this race, Felix Rupert versus George Brabner. It could be a very important one in the championship if George still wants to do something in the standings. He kind of needs to win this race. This is probably the best chance he's had in, well, the entirety of the season to win one, and now he's isolated with Felix Rupert, and it's a one-on-one. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, the gap in the championship at the moment is 40 points, so a win for George would be very welcome for the battle in the championship. Meanwhile, actually, Van der Hunning has caught up to Illigner and Veldman. I wonder if I don't really see the lap times, but Felix is under massive pressure, and there's gonna be some battling for sure. Maybe that will allow Sam to actually catch up quite a bit. Maybe we'll get a 3-way fight for the win today.
Yeah, that'd be amazing. I'm just checking on my second screen the lap times. Well, the lap times at the front, the top 3 have been just about in sync, I think. And Sam gained like a 10th last lap, but they were all really close. As soon as George and Rupert actually get down to it and make their hands dirty, trying to fight each other for track position, that could be the moment where Sam just closes that gap and is gonna be right on them. And it's certainly possible. 4.6 seconds, big gap, but not out of the question for sure.
Yeah, we need to remind ourselves here, only half of the race has passed, so still a lot can happen. Meanwhile, car 717 is and it's Santos who has returned to garage, and I think that's gonna be a retirement.
Let's see what happened. We're in the replay, and that's with Chavinsky, and it's gonna be collision. He's put in the wall. Oh no, man, that's really sad. That was Victor getting a proper run on the Mercedes driver, and then, well, not wanting to lift off. I've seen that in the 24 Hours of Spa. And just, yeah, shoves him up the rear into the wall. That's really sad. Another retirement. Gap at the front seems about the same. Sam is just gaining a 10th every time I check.
Oh, and battling for P18 here. It's gonna be side by side. Turner and Sonsi McSpins a lot going side by side, having a drag race down the main straight. Actually, Antoine is right on the back of that. Is he gonna make it?
Oh god, okay, they're not doing that, that's really nice, but Antoine is just trying to pick his moment. We see someone spun around one corner down the line. I don't know who that was. I think it was Reset to the Pit. I think it was Smelt. It was, well, it was returned to garage as well, so we've lost another one. That's sad, of course, and yeah, as you said, it's going to be interesting to see how Antoine makes his way past those guys. I mean, P19 still gets points, and it looks like he's just getting a way better run. Did Owen actually lift him? I think he did. So Antoine up a place, P18, probably doubled his points there for this race, but it's still obviously just damage limitation. See what he can do against Sonsi McSpins a lot. I can't stay serious while saying that name.
Let's see, are there any more? But I think obviously the main battles being, well, actually Romsa and Visser being close as well, with Alex Burbo, I think, catching up to them. Van Adding, Illichner and Veld still following each other, and I think Felix is starting to extend the gap a little bit again.
Yeah, he's up on his PB by 2/10 right now. Maybe he's finally found the rhythm that he needs to shake off that annoying Lamborghini. Gap is above a second again. We're not in F1, of course, so it doesn't really matter that much. But it's still a good indicator that
Sackles and Illichner, what just happened? Sackles letting Illichner and Van der Hudding go, but he...
Oh my god!
I think there was a little bit of contact.
Yeah, I just checked the replay, it was unnecessary, a little bit of a bump on the straight. I don't know how that happens, it's not too hard to follow blue flags in my opinion, I don't know. But yeah, obviously a little bit of a spooky moment. No position loss for Illichner, hopefully no damage either, because that would be major misfortune. But yeah, putting the pressure on for Veld, and the gap at the front, 1.3 seconds, I think, and with that, I think this is our closest fight right now, from P4 to P6. Witkowski is a good bit off the back, and yeah, also keeping an eye on Alex, of course. He was fast in the first stint, and then something happened around the pit stops, and now he's behind Romse and Visser, who are fighting for a silver class win, by the way, there in the army green cars. And Alex probably wants to shake that fight up a little bit. Romse still leading silver class, yeah.
Actually looking now on board with Felix and George, and it's actually pretty interesting to see that both of them take, well, the lines are not similar at all, actually. You can tell that Felix is more confident in the car, really takes a little bit more curb, just a little bit earlier on the throttle, but also more confident in oversteery situations, really. Yeah, he's just really pushing the car. Oh, but he made a little bit of a mistake going through the Schumacher, so maybe pushing a little bit too hard. Meanwhile, the gap from Sam to George is 4.3, so it's slowly coming down.
Yeah, I think that Sam and Felix are just kind of going the same pace, and George in between them is like maybe half a tenth or a tenth off. So I think that's how the change in the timing tower is well, coming along. But as soon as there's a mistake from Felix, you know George is gonna be there for sure. And well, let's actually check the lap time. So last lap was Felix's PB. This lap is gonna be a a 54.5, and out of George it is also a 54.5, so there's practically no difference in pace between those two, and a 54.2 out of Sam, so he actually had the upper hand on this lap a little bit, but it's just not enough to, it's not enough for him to catch them by the end of this race. 22 minutes to go, so about a third left in this race, but with only like 0.2 of a pace advantage, you're not gonna get there. He probably needs mistakes or some fights.
Yeah, one thing we need to keep in mind, the Nurburgring, and there was nearly some contact between Romsa and Visser. But one thing that we need to keep in mind is that the Nurburgring really isn't a easy track to overtake. Main overtaking spots would be both of the hairpins. But besides that, it's really about capitalizing on the mistakes of others.
I was gonna ask you to consider the last corner hairpin.
No.
It's a secondary overtaking spot, I guess.
I mean, it's... Yeah, I was kind of referring to the Dunlop chicane, so turn 7. But when, like, if someone's gonna make a mistake to the chicane, of course the final corner is also gonna be an overtaking spot, and it doesn't necessarily have to be a mistake. Some cars handle those curbs just a lot better. Speaking, Van Hudding and Illigner are really close.
Exactly. That was almost pushing him through the corner. Maybe he's gonna pick up some slipstream, and maybe if he is feeling really brave today, no. Okay, thank God he doesn't intend on throwing both of them off the road. So instead, he just throws himself off the road by doing what you what you foreshadowed. He hit the curb, and he did exactly. That solid catch in the end, but that was beyond scary. Let's be honest. I don't want to do that again, I'm sure, and that's giving Dominic some breathing space to drive home in P5, maybe P4 if he can put some pressure on Veld, though it looks like he's been tailing off a little bit over the past 10 minutes or so, 1.6 seconds the gap. And
yes, meanwhile, Antoine, going on with his recovery drive, he was actually very close to...
just say Turkey. I've given up. I've even asked Google Translate on Croatian to pronounce it for me, and I've just decided that I'm just not gonna try. It's not worth the pain. We'll just go with Turkey. He's in P15. He's doing a solid race. He had a little bit of a nightmare in Alton Park, but so far, handling himself well, and now he's under pressure by Antoine. Obviously, Turkey's gonna know that this is maybe not a fight worth losing his life over. Antoine is clearly fast. He's gonna send it down the inside, and I believe he's just getting the move done. How much space is Turkey gonna give? Enough. He doesn't really contest the corner. Nicely done by Antoine. Very confident on the brake, and now the gap is 5 seconds to Nick Kononov for P14.
Yes, and Alex Burbo and Visser also very close on track right now. I feel that Alex Burrow is quicker. Let's see if he can actually make a pass. Also, comparing these two drivers, some very different lines, but I also feel like that's down to the car. As I said earlier, the Aston really a way better car over the curbs than comparing it to the Audi. It's absolutely dreadful over the curbs.
Yeah, certainly. That was a perfect example right there, the camera shot. You could just see the Aston going for, using them like a trampoline, and Burbo just avoiding them. The curb is lava, basically, for him. But yeah, this is an interesting dynamic. Of course, for Romsa and Jurien, the fight that matters most to them is gonna be the silver class victory. They are separated by a second and a half right now, and if Visser loses the position to Alex Burbo, then that means he can't directly put pressure on Romsa again, but maybe Alex is fast enough to close the gap for him and then put Romsa under pressure, so it's like a little bit of a tactical game here. How much does he want to hold on to this position? Is he well off sending Burbo to attack Jensen, or does he just want to stay here? We'll see what he does.
And Castle actually also pretty close in the back of Chikeka. I feel there aren't really a lot of battles going on at this point. It's fairly spread out. Actually, I do think George is... I feel the gap was bigger at some point.
Yeah, it was. Gaining and losing a little bit. I think they're gonna finish like that unless there is a mistake. And I think they are both pushing as hard as they can. So mistakes aren't out of the question at all. A little bit of a wonky lap for Felix. It was a 54.5. Out of George, it was a 54.4. It's yeah, I mean they don't take much from each other. Also, Sam has kind of settled down. I think he's accepted the fact that he's not gonna get there unless they fight, and he is not gonna be caught by Veld in any case because that gap is 10 seconds. So I think he's just decided to go with this and hope that he doesn't throw it off the road.
There's really not a lot going on track. What might be interesting is that meanwhile Chekeka and Castle were battling a little bit. Turkey is behind them, sorry, Kononov is behind them, and Antoine is closing up, and that's gonna be a 4-way battle.
Yeah.
Might be pretty interesting to look at that in a little bit.
Yeah, certainly. He has already cut the gap down. Well, he's down halfway from where we last looked at the gap when he overtook Turkey, and now we're only at 2 seconds, so he's certainly got the pace by a mile. I think, yeah, he's 2 seconds a lap faster than those two should be there at the end of this lap, and then we'll see how he gets past. He's displayed some good racecraft in the past. He's displayed some good driving skills around the Nurburgring, and now he needs to make sure he executes some safe passes on those, and it's gonna be spicy, similar to Alex Berber with Visser and Jensen. He is kinda, you know, in well, he's intervening in a fight for silver class because Chikeka and Kessel are fighting over P3. Kononov as a reserve driver is also driving his own race there, and he wants to disrupt that as little as possible while making his way past. And that's certainly... Well, it will be a challenge for him, and it looks like George has made a massive mistake over the last lap because he's lost 6/10 to Rupert. No, actually Rupert just drove a really solid lap. He did a 54 flat and George did a 54.6. So pace advantage Rupert.
Yeah, like at this point there's also tire man.
Again. Okay, I'm back. I hope that fixed it. I don't think it did, but you know, optimism, let's go. We've got yellows, who's that?
273, it's Turkey.
Oh no, it's just because I said he was having a good drive. That's what happened, I'm sure. And so that works.
Looking at the standings, actually, where did Chris go?
Where did Chris go? That's a
because
damn good point. I have no idea.
Because Chris was running in, I think it was P11. He was
doing
a pretty good job, and well, he's just gone.
Yeah, he's still on the broadcasting client thingy because it can't deal with disconnected cars, and he disconnected out of P11, and that was like 3 laps ago. I didn't. Oh no, Turkey! What are you doing? That was sideways. I don't think he caused a yellow flag, so maybe it was actually just his internet being bad. So Dutch internet, huh?
It should be pretty good. Well, actually, I think Felix made a mistake. Did he? Yeah, I think George is closer.
Oh,
Gap was 2 seconds.
Yeah, certainly. That's a 8/10 loss on this lap. A 54.8 out of Felix, and that gives George probably a last bit of hope there. If he wants to keep his challenge alive in this race, he needs more mistakes out of Felix. I think we're at the point where George can't do it out of his own pace without a little cooperation from Felix.
Yeah, and Antoine really on the back now of Castle and Chikeka, and this is gonna be interesting because it is the fight for P3 and silver.
Oh, I think he's got one.
A very good run.
Yeah, certainly, but it's the outside line, so that's gonna be spicy. Breaks really late, and I think he's just gotten him, but he overshoots by a bunch. Carries the speed, though. Kessel not really committed on the apex. Lets him pass. Doesn't contest too hard because he knows that Antoine is gonna have to get past Chikeka as well, and then maybe if Bass is sneaky, he can get himself ahead of Chikeka that way. So maybe that's why he didn't fight that one too much. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. He wasn't defending a lot, Castle was, but besides that, it was a very nice and committed move from Antoine carrying around the outside. It's a very good job.
Absolutely. Now it just needs to do it again, and it's gonna be P11, and with that incredibly huge gap of 42 seconds between P10 and P11. That will be the end of his climb up the order after stop go 30, for sure. And now up front, I can see that on this lap it looks like, well, it looks like it's been a good one from oh, as I say that, man, that was commentator's curse. That was big commentator's curse. Massive mistake over the curb from George, cost him about 6/10. So never mind what I was gonna say. Gap now 2 seconds, I believe. Yeah, 2.1. Idea.
Yeah, and as you were saying, it seems like Sam has, well, he's just cruising, kind of accepted that he is probably not gonna catch P2 and P1, well, at least if nothing happens.
Yeah, exactly, which we obviously don't hope, but it would be spicy. And Oliver all over the back of Chikeka. He's been in exactly that position 1 lap ago with Bass. And now maybe he can make it work at the same place. No, good run from Chikeka, so no change of position into this, well, S section. And maybe into the chicane, though. Also, I know that I'm just commentators cursing him as well now, but it's a solid race from Chikeka so far. He's been the star of several spins over the last few rounds, and well, 8 minutes to go. I haven't seen him facing the wrong way yet, which is good, of course. Like to see it. P3 for him right now, in class. P11 on the road, but Antoine is coming for that one.
Yeah, and I wonder how long Chikaka's gonna, well, hold his position here. It seems that Antoine is way more confident on the brakes and basically every braking zone. Actually, he's gonna go Chikaka.
He defends this because he knows as soon as Antoine is past, it gives Kessel the opportunity to attack him again. On the other hand, if he loses too much time with this defensive work, then it's not worth either. Kinda. Oh, that's really deep.
Just let him go.
Okay. No, he's holding against. That must have been a mistake, and Antoine probably getting frustrated right around now, which is fine because now he's actually gotten the position, and Kennedy needs to make sure to not let Bass through with Antoine, and he does that well. So.
Yeah, and I think Chikeka kind of shot himself in the foot here. If I was him, I probably would have let Antoine go and maybe try to follow Antoine. A lot of times, maybe you can't drive the pace yourself, but when you're following another car, you instantly gain 3 or 4 tenths.
Yeah, certainly.
But he was defending, and now Castle's back.
Yeah, I think it's just because if you get a car ahead, that shows you that that you're not hitting the limit. That can help. Like if you're driving on your own, you're thinking, oh, I'm going so fast, but then there's a guy ahead of you just like goes on the throttle a second early every corner. He realizes, oh, I'm really slow. So I guess that's how that works. But not able to hang on to Antoine well enough. 6 minutes to go in this one, and P3 in silver class might be close. I think the win in silver class is kind of decided, but not really. I mean, it's 1.2 seconds. It can still happen, but at this point, Ramsey would need to make a mistake. But we've seen plenty of those in this race. I wouldn't be surprised if there was another one. And in pro class, things have been have been static over the past minutes. because that is a 2.3 second gap for Felix Rupert, who looks like he's gonna win in less confident fashion than in past weeks, but at least it should be his return to the top step after he's been absent from it in Alton Park and Zolder, where Chris took it. Who, by the way, is running P7. Go on.
Meanwhile, Noppen and Czerwinski battling. Czerwinski going down the inside of turn 1. Noppen actually got a pretty good run there, so he's gonna have the inside for turn 2. But Czerwinski's gonna carry it around the outs. Yeah, he's done it.
That was really nice. Yeah, I mean, it's easy to disrespect the bottom end of the field, but that was some good space given. Both respected each other's racing rooms there and didn't want to get caught up in an incident. So we get a good overtake. Well done.
Yeah, and Czerwinski was really showcasing the strength of the Porsche here, actually. The Porsche being very good on traction in the lower gears, while the Ferrari is actually quite a bit oversteery and needs a little bit more subtle driving. It kind of allowed Czerwinski to get a clean run around the outside. Nevertheless, very nice move.
Absolutely, we're 4 minutes from the end. And this a little bit faster than Romsen, and they've both been able to stay ahead of Alex Barber, by the way, who doesn't look like he's found his first stint pace in the second stint. After whatever went wrong in the pit stop, I'm sure he's gonna let us know in chat, in the Discord chat, what happened to his race. A little bit of a shame that he's not fighting up there. He was part of the big train in the first stint, but now has fallen off of that. Nonetheless, it's been a decent re-entry into sim racing with us for him over the last 2 races, and I hope he can. He keeps at it, because he's shown some serious pace towards the end of his first stint with a full-time seat for us.
Yeah, and really unless someone makes a mistake, I think we're pretty set here for the final standings of the race.
Yeah, I think so too. Even though there might be someone who thinks 3 minutes to go. I don't gain a position unless I completely throw the car into every corner now, and they either catch up or spin. But yeah, I would agree. It's probably gonna finish like that. Turkey gets a drive-through right at the end of this, but he was last anyways. It was it's not a big heartbreak for him, I'm sure. It's been good to get some laps in, of course, and not throw it into a wall, not throw it into another car, so I'm sure it was worth his time, but the drive-through isn't nice.
And I do think Visser is closing up to Romse, because that does not look like 1.1 second to me.
Yeah, you're absolutely correct there. That is a big drop in pace from Romsey. He's lost a second already on the Delta on this lap alone, and this lap is about 4 corners old. So something's going on there. Maybe he just made a single mistake. Maybe he's just suddenly not confident in the car anymore. Maybe the grip drop-off has something to do with it. Aston Martin, I would imagine, probably easier to control on dying tires than an Audi. Audi can get quite snappy in my humble experience. And maybe that is exactly what Dragon needs for the win in silver class. So this is gonna come down to the wire, and it's gonna go down to the wire is what I mean. And maybe last fight in this race. Leader on the final lap, Felix Rupert. 3 second gap to George now, so it seems like George has probably given up by now as well. But Visser and Romse have got 1 lap and about a fourth of a lap to go in this.
Romse got a pretty poor run actually, and Visser is gonna close in there.
Yeah, but it's not an overtaking spot really. Maybe it put the pressure on though. No, both running safely through the chicane. No one getting anything massively wrong. I mean, Romse knows that he needs to make a mistake for Urian to get the position, even though Urian now with a really solid run, I believe now he's going to tuck into the slipstream. He's in the Aston Martin following the Audi into turn 1. Turn 1 is a hard braking zone and one of the last overtaking opportunities for him, and he doesn't manage to do anything with it. Maybe he's going to be able to set him up through some alternative lines through the arena section. Does not look likely right now. So yeah, maybe into the Dunlop hairpin, as you say, also good overtaking spots.
It's really, if he can get a very good exit out of turn 6, there might be an opportunity going into the Dunlop hairpin, but I don't think he's close enough.
Yeah, you kind of need the other guy to make a mistake, like go on the throttle too early and then having to lift off again or something like that, that gives you the run, because, well, this set didn't get one. It's gonna stay in P9 there. Where are the leaders? It is the final corner for Felix Rupert, who after 2 races he'd rather erase from his memory, has finally found his way back to the top step. The championship leader takes another win here at the Nurburgring, comes across the line, win for Felix Rupert. Then it's George Brabner, who has driven a really solid race, overtaking Sam off the line, and then just settling down in P2. Samuel Chumley has made a mistake early on and got himself back in the pit lane phase, or in the pit stop phase, through the undercut. P3 for him. Nico Velden is going to finish P4, and Dominic Erlegner P5. But Van den Hedding comes across in P6, and then we have the winner of the last 2 races, hasn't managed to make it a hat-trick. It is only P7 for Formula Quiz. Sure, he's not going to be too mad about that. And then Ramsey Jens manages to save himself across the line for a silver class win. He's going to be very happy about as he throws his car into a wall in a very ecstatic way. Jurien.
And actually, Kessel under quite a lot of pressure at the end from Nick Kononov.
Oh,
I don't think there's going to be an opportunity for a pass, but...
Yeah, maybe. So Vissa P9, Berber P10, and Antoine is gonna finish P11 for sure. GKK also out of range. It's just Kononov and Kessel now, but yeah, there's not much they can do. Kononov so late on the race. You can see he was hungry for that, but it is a little bit too late to go for anything funny. And they're gonna cross the line like this. P12 for... P12 and silver class. P3 goes to Kennedy Chikeka. P13 to Bas Kessel. Then it's Kononov, and the rest are gonna be Spinzelot, Chevinsky, Turner, and Noppen. And actually, Turkey is disconnected right at the end, and that was our race. Well, I mean, I don't know, I don't know what to say about that one. It was interesting in parts. At the end, it was kind of settled down a little bit. There was some tension though between George and Felix, and I really wonder if there's gonna be more chances for George to threaten Felix. That's what he would need for now, because now the championship gap is actually kind of scary for him.
Yeah, and it was a good race, but I do think we got robbed off a good fight for P3 with Antoine getting the stop and go 30. We're speeding in the pit lane. I think that would have been a very nice battle as well. But in the end it was Sam, at least Sam for P3 was basically cruising for him at some point. He gave up on P2 knowing that George and Felix were going to be faster. And yeah, we saw some nice little battles though throughout the race. Especially P4 to P6 at some point with Vennehudding, Eligner and Veld.
Yep.
I think some nice battles, but it was a fun race for sure.
Yeah, and it's a tough track to overtake on, and we've just come off the back of Zolder and Alton Park, which are also tracks where overtaking is really hard. But after that triple header of narrow tracks where fighting is really tough, we're gonna have a triple header of hopefully banger tracks. Honestly, it's Silverstone, Spa, and Monza. I'm looking forward to that so much. When I looked at the calendar, I just thought, okay, rounds 9 to 11 looks so spicy. I'm all here for it, and well, I'm hoping that the viewers will be all here for that as well. I'll try and get my stream issues fixed until then. Maybe I'll buy a new microphone, because this one seems to wanna die. And so that should be fun. Make sure to join us for that. Also, F1 racing has returned. We are going to Russia this week. So, you know, sometimes you have to do things you don't like driving Russia. But yeah, make sure to check out the streams for that. Next week, as I said, is Silverstone. Thanks to you, Alex, for doing the commentary with me, and thanks to all the drivers for giving us a solid race. Goodbye.
Yes, goodbye.